I will share with you the most effective technique I have ever discovered, a practice so transformative that when repeated faithfully, it rewrites the very fabric of your reality. The power lies not in the complexity of the method, but in the persistence and conviction with which you apply it. What I am about to tell you is not theory, but law. It is as immutable as gravity, as serving as the rising sun. When you truly grasp this principle and apply it with unwavering faith, your world will shift with such precision that you will stand in awe of your own creative power. The technique is this. Take your desire, your wish fulfilled, and repeat it to yourself as a present fact, not as something that will be, but as something that already is. 100 times each day, affirm your desire as an accomplished fact. But the crucial detail that most miss, it is not the mere repetition of words that pH, but the feeling of naturalness that accompanies your declaration. Let me explain the profound mechanics at work here. Your consciousness, your I am, is God Himself individualized. When you declare a thing to be true while occupying the state of your wish fulfilled, you are engaging the very power that created the universe. This is not positive thinking. This is the activation of universal law. Consider this truth. Everything you now accept as reality was once merely a thought, an imagination. Your current circumstances, your relationships, your position in life, all were first conceived in imagination before they materialized in your world. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner assumptions. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are not engaging in mere affirmation. You are programming the depths of your subconscious mind. You are impressing upon the substance of creation itself the pattern of your desired reality. This is why the feeling is crucial. Each repetition must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness, the feeling that your desire is already a fact. Let me share with you a secret about this practice that few understand. The number 100 is not arbitrary. It represents completeness, fullness, the totality of conviction. When you repeat your desire 100 times, you are symbolically declaring its completeness in your consciousness. You are filling every corner of your mind with the reality of your wish fulfilled. But remember this vital truth. The words themselves are merely vessels. They carry the feeling, the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. As you repeat your statement, you must feel the reality of it. If your desire is for financial abundance, you must feel the security, the freedom, the joy of that abundance. If your desire is for a loving relationship, you must feel the warmth, the companionship, the deep connection of that relationship. Many of you ask, but Neville, how can I feel something that isn't yet true? Here is the supreme secret. In the realm of consciousness, there is no yet. There is only an although. When you enter the state of consciousness where your desire dwells, you are actually entering the reality where it already exists. Your physical reality has no choice but to conform to this new state of consciousness. The universe you see is not outside of you. It is within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination externalized. When you repeat your desire 100 times with feeling, you are literally rearranging the universe, because you are rearranging your consciousness, and your consciousness is the universe. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose you desire a particular position in your company. Instead of saying, I want that position or I will get that position, you would declare, I am so grateful to be in my perfect position doing work I love. Repeat this 100 times daily, but, and this is crucial, feel the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the joy of actually occupying that position. As you do this, something remarkable begins to happen. The people around you will begin to respond differently. Opportunities will appear that weren't there before. Circumstances will arrange themselves in ways that support your new reality. This isn't coincidence or magic, it is law. Remember, the outer world has no choice but to reflect your inner convictions. Just as your reflection in a mirror must move as you move, your external reality must shift to match your internal state. This is why persistent repetition with feeling is so powerful. It creates an unshakable conviction in your consciousness. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I tried affirmations before, and they didn't work. The difference here lies in understanding that you are not trying to convince yourself of something. You are instead occupying a state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. The repetition is not to convince, but to saturate your consciousness with the reality of your wish fulfilled. Think of it this way: when you wake up in the morning, you don't need to convince yourself that you are who you are. You simply know it. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. Through repeated occupation of the state of your wish fulfilled, it becomes just as natural as your own name. The universe responds not to your words, but to your state of consciousness. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are systematically altering your state of consciousness. You are literally becoming the person who has what you desire. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. It is simply conforming to who you have become. Let me share another vital aspect of this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must exclude all contrary evidence from your physical senses. If your bank account shows lack, while you are declaring abundance, you must remain faithful to your inner conviction rather than the external fact. The external will change, it must change, but only after you have firmly established a new reality in your consciousness. This requires a level of mental discipline that few are willing to exercise. It is easy to accept what your senses show you. It takes spiritual maturity to remain faithful to your inner conviction despite contrary evidence. But this is precisely what separates those who manifest their desires from those who remain trapped in their current circumstances. Remember, every time you repeat your desire with feeling, you are dropping a seed into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up his seeds every day to check their progress, you must not constantly check the external world for evidence of your manifestation. Plant your seed through repetition, water it with feeling, and trust in the law. The law operates with mathematical precision. Just as 2 + 2 must equal 4, your consciousness made conceived through repetition must produce its equivalent in your outer world. This is not theory, this is law. I have tested it countless times in my own life and in the lives of thousands who have applied these principles. Consider this profound truth. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in the outer world is simply consciousness objectified. When you understand this, you realize that by changing your consciousness through persistent repetition of your desire, you are literally changing the only reality there is. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. It has no choice. It is not separate from you. It is you pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your world is simply your consciousness made visible. Change your consciousness through this practice of repetition with feeling, and you change everything. Now, let me address a question that often arises: how long must I continue this practice? The answer is, until your desire feels natural. Until it feels more real to you than the current facts of your life. For some, this might happen quickly. For others, it might take longer. The time required depends on your ability to remain faithful to your inner conviction. Remember, time is a human construct. In the realm of consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no time. There is only the intensity of your conviction. This is why some desires manifest quickly while others take longer. The speed of manifestation is directly proportional to the completeness of your acceptance of your desire as fact. This is where the power of repeating your desire 100 times daily becomes evident. Each repetition, when done with feeling, deepens your conviction. It strengthens your acceptance of your desire as fact. It makes your new reality more and more natural to you until it becomes impossible for you to accept anything less. Let me share another crucial aspect of this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must also repeat the feeling of gratitude for its fulfillment. Gratitude is not merely a positive emotion, it is the acceptance of something as yours. When you feel grateful for something, you are acknowledging its presence in your life. This is why I often teach that the feeling of gratitude is one of the highest spiritual frequencies you can maintain. When you combine your repetition with genuine gratitude, you are not only declaring your desire as fact, you are accepting it as already yours. This combination is unbeatable in its manifestational power. Now let's address another vital point. As you practice this technique, you must guard your mental diet with the same care that you would guard your physical diet if you were training for an athletic event. Every thought that crosses your mind either supports or contradicts your desire. This is why the repetition must be consistent and why it must be done 100 times. The number 100 creates a momentum in your consciousness that helps override contrary thoughts and feelings. It builds a foundation of conviction so strong that casual negative thoughts cannot shake it. This is the power of persistence in consciousness. Consider how a river creates a canyon. It's not through occasional powerful surges, but through constant, persistent flow. This is how you must approach your practice. Each repetition is like a drop of water, seemingly insignificant on its own, but powerful enough to reshape reality when applied consistently. Your consciousness is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds you plant in it. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are planting and nurturing the seeds of your future reality. Just as a garden doesn't spring up overnight, your manifestation may not appear instantly. But if you remain faithful to your practice, it must appear. This brings us to another crucial understanding. The law works with perfect precision, but it works according to its own timing. Your role is not to determine when or how your desire will manifest. Your role is simply to persist in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled through faithful repetition. Many fail in their manifestations because they try to dictate the how and when of their desire's fulfillment. This is a mistake. The how and when belong to the law. Your task is simply to persist in your new state of consciousness through regular, feeling-based repetition of your desire. Remember, the universe knows far more than your conscious mind about how to bring about your desire. It has access to infinite possibilities, infinite channels through which your good can come to you. By trying to dictate the how and when, you actually limit the channels through which your desire can manifest. This is why I emphasize feeling over forcing. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with genuine feeling, you are allowing the infinite intelligence of the universe to arrange the perfect circumstances for your manifestation. You are surrendering the how and when while maintaining absolute faith in the what. Let me share something profound about this practice that few understand. When you repeat your desire with feeling, you are actually experiencing your future in the present moment. You are collapsing time. You are bringing the future into the now. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. You are creating a new pattern in the space-time itself. If you think about this, every moment of your life, you are in a particular state of consciousness. This state is made up of your beliefs, assumptions, and feelings about yourself and your world. When you deliberately enter and maintain a new state through conscious repetition of your desire, you are literally stepping into a new dimension of experience. This is not metaphorical, it is literal. Your consciousness is the substance of reality itself. When you change your consciousness through persistent repetition with feeling, you are literally rearranging the substance from which all things are made. This is why results must follow. It is law. Now, let me address something that often confuses people about this practice. Some believe that merely repeating words 100 times will bring about their desire. This is not the case. The words are simply tools to help you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is the feeling that creates the reality. If you think of it this way, when you are in love, you don't need to convince yourself that you're in love. You simply feel it. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. The repetition is designed to help you maintain this feeling consistently until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. This is why I emphasize that each repetition must be accompanied by feeling. Without feeling, words are empty shells. But when you combine repetition with genuine feeling, you are engaging the creative power of the universe itself. You are literally speaking your new reality into existence. Consider the biblical phrase, "In the beginning was the Word." This refers not to mere verbal expression, but to the creative power of consciousness itself. When you repeat your desire 100 times with feeling, you are engaging this same creative power. You are speaking your world into existence. This brings us to another crucial point, the importance of persistence. Some of you might begin this practice with enthusiasm, but abandon it when results don't appear immediately. This is a grave mistake. Remember, you are reprogramming your entire consciousness. This takes persistence and patience. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice, it becomes second nature. The same is true with this practice. At first, your new state of consciousness might feel forced or fake, but with persistent repetition, it becomes your natural state of being. This is why the number 100 is so powerful. It represents complete dedication to your new state of consciousness. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are declaring to the universe that you are absolutely committed to your new reality. This level of commitment always brings results. Remember, the universe is not testing you. It is simply responding to your consciousness with mathematical precision. When you maintain a consistent state of consciousness through persistent repetition with feeling, the universe has no choice but to reflect that consciousness back to you in physical form. Let me share another vital truth about this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must also be willing to let go of your old self-concept. You cannot hold on to who you were and simultaneously become who you desire to be. This is why the repetition must be accompanied by a willingness to change. Many of you hold on to your old stories, your old limitations, while trying to create something new. This is like trying to fill a cup that's already full. You must be willing to empty your cup, to let go of your old self-concept, to make room for your new reality. This is where the power of 100 repetitions becomes especially significant. Each repetition is like a chisel, slowly but surely reshaping your self-concept. With persistence, your new self-concept becomes more real to you than your old limitations. Consider this: every great achievement in human history began with a change in consciousness. The Wright brothers had to believe in the possibility of human flight before they could manifest it. Edison had to maintain the consciousness of success through thousands of failed attempts before manifesting the light bulb. Your desire, whatever it may be, follows the same law. Through persistent repetition with feeling, you are creating the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. And just as surely as the Wright brothers and Edison succeeded, your desire must manifest when you maintain the proper state of consciousness. This brings us to another crucial understanding: the importance of maintaining your new state of consciousness even when your senses deny it. This is where most people fail. They allow current circumstances to pull them out of their desired state of consciousness. Remember, your senses show you the world as it was, not as it will be. They show you the effects of your past thoughts and feelings, not the reality you are creating through current practice. This is why you must persist in your new state, regardless of appearance. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are creating a new cause. The effect must follow, it is law. But you must give the law time to work. You must maintain your faith in the unseen reality you are creating through your consciousness. Think of it like planting a garden. You don't plant seeds one day and dig them up the next to see if they're growing. You trust in the law of growth. You know that if you've planted the seeds and provided the proper conditions, growth must occur. The same is true with your desire. Each repetition of your desire with feeling is like watering and nurturing your seed. You don't need to know how it will grow. You don't need to figure out the process. Your only task is to maintain the proper mental and emotional state through persistent repetition. This brings us to another vital truth: the importance of living from your desire rather than for it. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are not trying to get something. You are acknowledging what is already yours in consciousness. This is a subtle but crucial distinction. Most people practice manifestation techniques from a state of wanting or needing. This actually pushes their desire away, because want and needing imply lack. When you live from your desire, when you repeat it as an accomplished fact, you are creating from a state of fulfillment. Consider this: when you have something, you don't spend time wanting it or figuring out how to get it. You simply enjoy having it. This is the state of consciousness you must achieve through your repetition practice. You must repeat your desire from a state of having, not wanting. This is why feeling is so crucial to this practice. When you combine repetition with the feeling of fulfillment, you are creating a new pattern in the universal substance. The feeling makes it real in consciousness, and what is real in consciousness must become real in experience. Let me tell you something profound about this practice that few truly understand. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are actually engaged in a sacred ritual. You are performing what the ancients called true prayer. Prayer is not begging or pleading, it is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Each repetition, when done with feeling, is like a drop of water filling the cup of your consciousness. When the cup is full, when your consciousness is saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, manifestation must follow. This is not magic, this is law. Consider how a mother feels about her child. She doesn't need to convince herself of her love. She doesn't need to repeat affirmations about being a mother. She simply is a mother. And this state of consciousness creates her experience of motherhood. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. Through 100 daily repetitions with feeling, you are becoming the person who already has what you desire. You are not trying to get something. You are acknowledging what is already yours in the reality of consciousness. Remember this vital truth: the external world has no power to prevent your desire from manifesting when you maintain the proper state of consciousness. Your circumstances, no matter how challenging they may appear, are simply shadows of past thinking. They have no power except that which you give them through your attention. When you consistently repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are withdrawing power from your current circumstances and investing it in your new reality. You are literally shifting the balance of power in your consciousness. This is why persistence is so crucial. Each repetition builds momentum in your consciousness. Each feeling-filled declaration of your desire As fact moves you closer to the point where your new reality must externalize itself. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice it becomes second nature. The same is true with this practice. At first your new state of consciousness might feel forced, but with faithful repetition, it becomes your natural state of being. Let me share one final truth about this practice. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the state of consciousness they help you achieve and maintain. The words are like a ladder helping you reach a higher level of consciousness. Once you reach that level, you must live there. This is why I say to repeat your desire 100 times daily. This repetition helps you maintain your new state of consciousness until it becomes your natural state of being. And when this happens, when your desired state becomes your natural state, the universe has no choice but to conform to your consciousness. Remember, you are not trying to convince the universe to give you something. You are declaring what is already yours in consciousness. Through persistent repetition with feeling, you are making your desire so real in consciousness that it must manifest in experience. This is the law of consciousness, and it never fails. What you accept as true in consciousness must manifest in your world. This is why the universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality, because your consciousness is reality. Practice this technique faithfully. Repeat your desire 100 times daily with genuine feeling. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. Do this and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your new state of consciousness. For this is the law, and the law never fails. I wish to share with you tonight a profound truth that will transform your entire world if you dare to embrace it fully. The year 2025 stands before you as a clean slate, a pure potentiality waiting to be impressed by your consciousness. But I tell you this, do not look to the world outside for your fulfillment, for your power, for your success. The secret I wish to impress upon you tonight is this: you must focus entirely and completely on yourself, for you are the operant power. You are the source of all that appears in your world. Let me make this clear. When I speak of focusing on yourself, I am not speaking of the outer self that you present to the world. I am speaking of that deeper self, that divine imagination within you, which is God. Yes, I dare to make this bold statement. Your own wonderful human imagination is God Himself operating in the very depths of your being. And in this year that lies before you, your task is to turn within and claim this truth with unwavering conviction. Many of you sitting here tonight are looking to the world of Caesar for your answers. You scan the headlines, you watch the markets, you analyze trends and patterns in the outer world. But I tell you, this is to put the cart before the horse. The outer world, every single aspect of it, is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your own consciousness. It cannot give you what you seek, for it has no power to create. The creative power lies within you. And only by focusing on this inner reality can you truly transform your life. Let me share with you a principle that has never failed. Your consciousness, your inner awareness of being, is the only reality. All phenomena are simply projections of this inner state. When you truly grasp this, you will understand why focusing on yourself, your inner self, is not selfish, but rather the highest calling. For in focusing on your consciousness, in cultivating your inner state, you are working with the very substance of creation. Consider this. Every time you say, I am, you are making a declaration at the very root of existence. You are defining your state of consciousness and therefore determining what will appear in your world. So I ask you, what are you declaring in the depths of your being? Are you saying, I am limited, I am worried about the future? I am dependent on outer circumstances? Or are you boldly claiming, I am successful, I am fulfilled, I am the creator of my destiny? In this year 2025, I urge you to make this your constant practice. Watch your inner conversation. Listen to what you are telling yourself in the silence of your own mind. For this inner conversation is your prayer, and it is being answered every moment of every day. The world must conform to your inner talk, for that is law. Now, let me explain why focusing on yourself is not what the world thinks it is. When I tell you to focus on yourself, I am telling you to focus on the God within you, for that is your true self. The Bible tells us the kingdom of God is within you. This is not a metaphor, my dear friends. It is the most literal and practical truth you will ever encounter. The kingdom, all power, all wisdom, all possibility is within your own consciousness. You see, the great error of humanity is in looking for power outside themselves. They think success, achievement, fulfillment must come from external sources. But I tell you with absolute certainty, everything you seek is already within you, waiting to be recognized and claimed. When you focus on yourself in this deep spiritual sense, you are focusing on the very source of all creation. Let me give you a technique to practice this truth. Tonight, when you retire to your bed, I want you to enter into a state akin to sleep, but remaining conscious. In this drowsy state, begin to feel yourself to be the person you wish to be. Do not think about becoming this person. Feel that you are already this person. For imagination creates reality, and feeling is the secret. You must persist in this feeling until it takes on the tone of reality. You must continue until you find yourself responding automatically to the world as this person would respond. This is what it means to truly focus on yourself, to consciously shape your inner state until it becomes your natural state of being. Now, some of you may be thinking about goals and resolutions for 2025. But I tell you, do not focus on the goals themselves. Focus instead on the state of consciousness of having already achieved these goals. You must feel the naturalness of being the person who has these things, these achievements, these states of being. For whatever you are conscious of being, you will become. Remember the words of Scripture, be still and know that I am God. This is not asking you to be physically still, though that can help. It is asking you to still your mind from its constant looking to the outer world, and instead really know that the I am within you is God. This is the highest form of focusing on yourself. As you move through 2025, I want you to maintain this practice religiously. When you wake in the morning, before you engage with the outer world, take a moment to establish your inner state. Feel yourself to be what you wish to be. Carry this feeling throughout your day. When challenges arise, and they will, for that is the nature of the world of Caesar, return to this inner knowing. Let me tell you why this is so crucial in this particular time. The world is constantly presenting images of limitation, of struggle, of competition. But these are only shadows, only reflections of collective consciousness. You have the power and the right to rise above these limitations by focusing on your own consciousness, your own divine imagination. You see, when you truly understand what I am telling you tonight, you will realize that focusing on yourself is the greatest service you can offer to the world. For as you elevate your consciousness, as you establish and maintain higher states of being, you automatically lift all those around you. This is because we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. Think of it this way. When you enter a room, having firmly established a state of joy, of success, of fulfillment within yourself, everyone in that room is touched by your state, not because you are trying to influence them, but because consciousness is the only reality. And you are awakening higher states of consciousness simply by being. This is why I tell you, make this year 2025 the year you truly dedicate yourself to focusing on your inner state. Let go of the habit of looking to others for approval, for validation, for direction. The only approval you need is from your own wonderful human imagination, for that is God Himself operating in you. You must guard your mental diet with the same care that you guard your physical diet. Every thought you entertain, every inner conversation you engage in, every feeling you cultivate is forming the consciousness from which your entire world springs. This is why focusing on yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your inner conversations is not selfish but sacred. Let me share with you a profound truth that few understand. The Bible tells us, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. This mind is the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. It is the absolute conviction that what you are imagining is already real, already accomplished. This is the mind you must cultivate in 2025. When you focus on yourself in this way, you are actually focusing on the creative power of the universe. For that power is your own wonderful human imagination. Every time you imagine, you are literally engaging with God. For imagination is God in action within the human mind. Now, many of you may be wondering about specific techniques to maintain this focus throughout the year. I will give you one that has never failed. Before you sleep each night, construct a simple scene that would imply your desire is already fulfilled. Make it a short scene, easily repeated, and most importantly, one that gives you the feeling of fulfillment. Enter into this scene as though it were happening now. Do not think of it as something to achieve. Know it as something that is already yours. Feel the naturalness of it. Repeat this scene over and over until it takes on the tones of reality. Then sleep in this consciousness. This is using your imagination lovingly on behalf of yourself. And this is the highest form of focusing on yourself. Remember, the outer world will constantly try to distract you from this practice. It will present you with so-called facts that seem to contradict your inner knowing. But I tell you this, facts are merely the fruit of past states of consciousness. They have no power to create, no power to sustain themselves unless you give them that power through your attention. This is why in 2025, you must be vigilant in maintaining your focus on your inner state. When the outer world presents its evidence, remember, it is only showing you a shadow of past consciousness. Your task is to maintain the consciousness of your wish fulfilled regardless of appearances. Let me tell you something that might shock you. Time does not exist in your imagination. When you imagine something, you are actually experiencing it now. This is why focusing on yourself, on your imaginative acts, is so powerful. You are literally experiencing your desire fulfilled in the only place it can be experienced, in your consciousness. This year, make it your practice to live more and more in your imagination. Not in idle fantasy, but in the firm conviction that your imaginal acts are real acts. They are the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen in the outer world. This is what it means to focus on yourself, to focus on your power to imagine, and to know that this power is God Himself in action. You see, the outer world is dead. It has no power to create, no power to sustain itself. It is purely an effect, never a cause. When you focus on yourself, on your consciousness, your imagination, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. This is why results are guaranteed when you maintain the right state of consciousness. Let me give you another practice for 2025. Throughout your day, pause occasionally and ask yourself, what am I conscious of being right now? This simple practice will help you maintain your focus on your inner state, which is the only reality. If you find yourself conscious of limitation, consciously shift to the consciousness of abundance. If you find yourself conscious of lack, shift to the consciousness of fulfillment. Remember, you are not trying to change conditions. You are changing states of consciousness, and the conditions must follow. This is the law. by which your world operates. It is immutable, unchangeable. Whatever you are conscious of being, you must become. This is why focusing on yourself, on your state of consciousness, is the most practical thing you can do. You are literally selecting the state from which your entire world will spring. Now, some of you might be thinking that this sounds too simple, but I tell you it is simple, but it requires persistence. You must persist in maintaining the state of consciousness you desire until it becomes your natural state. This is the art of focusing on yourself that I am sharing with you tonight. Think of it this way: every moment of your day, you are either consciously choosing your state, or you are unconsciously accepting a state based on outer circumstances. In 2025, make it your practice to consciously choose your state. This is true focus on self. Remember, the state you choose must feel natural to you. This is why feeling is the secret. You must feel the naturalness of being the person you wish to be. This feeling creates the reality. The outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your inner feeling, your inner conviction. As you move through this year, you will face moments of doubt. The outer world will present evidence that seems to contradict your chosen state. In these moments, remember, the outer is only a shadow. Your task is to remain faithful to your chosen state, regardless of appearances. This is what it means to focus on yourself, to maintain your chosen state despite all outer evidence to the contrary. For your state of consciousness is the only reality, and all outer circumstances must conform to it. This is law. Let me give you one more practice for 2025. Each morning, before you begin your day, take a moment to feel the joy of being the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of having what you desire. Feel the satisfaction of being who you truly wish to be. Then carry this feeling with you throughout your day. You see, this feeling is your prayer, and this prayer is always answered. The outer world has no choice but to reflect back to you what you are consciously being and feeling. This is why focusing on yourself, on your feeling state, is the most powerful thing you can do. In closing, I want to impress upon you this fundamental truth. You are the operant power in your world. Not your outer self, but your consciousness, your imagination, your I am. When you focus on this truth, when you live from this understanding, your entire world must transform to reflect your state of consciousness. Make 2025 the year you truly grasp and apply this truth. Focus on yourself, not the outer self, but the divine imagination within you. For this imagination is God Himself operating in you, and it is the only creative power in existence. Remember, the world is just pushed out. Everything you see, everything you experience is simply your consciousness made visible. Therefore, focus on yourself, your consciousness, your imagination, your feeling state, and watch as your world transforms to match your inner state. This is the law, and it cannot fail. For consciousness is the only reality, and what you are conscious of being, you must become. This is the promise I leave with you tonight. Take it, test it, prove it in your own experience. For the truth of what I tell you can only be proven experience. Go forth into 2025 with this understanding. Focus on yourself, your divine imagination, and watch as miracles unfold in your world. For you are the miracle worker. You are the creative power. You are God in action. This is the truth that sets you free. And now, having planted this seed in your consciousness, I know it must bear fruit. For that is law. Your world must reflect what you are conscious of being. Therefore, be conscious of being who you wish to be. And watch as your world transforms to reflect this new state of consciousness. Remember, the kingdom of God is within you. All power is within you. All possibility exists within your own wonderful human imagination. Focus on this truth in 2025. Live from this understanding and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. For this is the promise: whatsoever you are conscious of being, you will become. This is the law, and it cannot fail. Go forth now in this understanding and prove this truth in your own wonderful experience. For experience is the only true teacher, and your own wonderful imagination is God Himself in action. Turn your complete attention inward throughout 2025, for your consciousness is the only creative power in your world. Every circumstance, every experience, every achievement springs from your inner state. Your task is not to battle circumstances, but to maintain the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Live from the end, feeling the naturalness of being who you wish to be. And your outer world must conform to match this inner conviction. The year 2025 awaits not as a challenge to overcome, but as a pure reflection of your state of consciousness. Remember, you are not trying to change things, you are choosing states of being from which your desired reality will naturally unfold. Your own wonderful human imagination is the God power within you, and focusing on this truth is your sacred task for the year ahead. Test this law. Prove it in your own experience and watch as your world transforms to match your inner state. Make this your year of focusing on yourself, your true self, your divine imagination, and watch as miracles unfold in your world. For you are the miracle worker. You are the creative power. You are God in action. This is the truth that sets you free. And this is the truth I leave with you tonight. Let me tell you a great truth that most of the world has yet to comprehend. You are not what you appear to be. You are not this limited mortal being trapped in circumstances. You are all imagination, and imagination is God. Therefore, you are God in the most literal sense, temporarily occupying a garment of flesh to experience your own wonderful creation. And just as God can speak worlds into existence, you too possess this same creative power to speak your world into being. Now, I know this may seem fantastic to some of you, but I am not here to theorize or philosophize. I am here to share with you what I know to be true through my own experience and the experiences of countless others who have applied this law. The transformation you seek in 2025 is not something that will happen to you. It is something that must happen within you first. Consider this: when you go to your home tonight and prepare for sleep, you will naturally disappear from this world of Caesar. Your physical body will rest, but your consciousness, your true self, remains ever active, ever aware. This simple act of daily disappearance holds the key to your transformation. For in that state between waking and sleeping lies the most fertile soil for planting the seeds of your desires. Let me tell you exactly what I mean. When you desire to transform any aspect of your life, you must first learn to disappear from your current state of consciousness. Just as you naturally disappear from this world when you sleep, you must learn to disappear from your present concept of self. This is not a metaphor. I am speaking of a natural psychological technique that, when mastered, will transform your entire life with mathematical precision. Now let us delve deeper into this principle. The Bible, which is not a historical document but a psychological drama, tells us, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This transformation is not something that happens gradually through external effort. It happens instantly when you succeed in disappearing from your current state of consciousness and occupying the state of your wish fulfilled. Think of it this way: right now you hold a certain concept for yourself. You may see yourself as lacking in some way, perhaps financially limited or unfulfilled in your relationships, or restricted in your career. This self-concept feels solid and real because you have given it life through your attention and belief. But I tell you, it is nothing more than a garment you have worn so long you have forgotten it. It's not your true self. The secret to transformation in 2025 lies not in adding something new to your current state, but in completely disappearing from it. You must die to your present concept of self. And this death is not a physical death, but a psychological one. It is the complete abandonment of all that you now consider yourself to be. Let me share with you a simple but powerful technique. Tonight, when you lay your head upon your pillow, instead of reviewing the day's events or worrying about tomorrow, consciously choose to disappear from your present circumstances. Feel yourself sink deeper and deeper into the awareness of being who you wish to be. Do not think of how you will become this person. That is the old way of thinking that keeps you bound to your current state. Instead, yield completely to the feeling of being your desired self. If you wish to be wealthy, feel the naturalness of wealth. If you seek perfect health, feel the lightness and vitality of a perfectly healthy body. If you desire a loving relationship, feel the warmth and security of being deeply loved. The secret is to persist in this feeling until it becomes more real to you than your physical surroundings. You see, in 2025, you are not trying to change things in the world of Caesar. You are claiming your rightful place as the operant power of your universe. The outer world, no matter how solid it appears, is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner assumptions. Change the assumption, and you change the reflection. This is the law. I am reminded of a lady who came to me in dire circumstances. She was facing financial ruin, her relationships were in shambles, and her health was failing. She asked me what she should do to change her life. I told her exactly what I'm telling you now. Disappear completely from that state. She looked at me bewildered, expecting some complex system of affirmations or external actions. But I told her, your outer world is nothing more than your inner conversations objectified. Change your inner conversation, and you change everything. She began to practice this principle. Each night before sleep, she would disappear completely from her troubled state and assume the feeling of being the person she wished to be. She would feel the satisfaction of financial abundance, the joy of harmonious relationships, the vitality of perfect health. Within 3 months, her entire world transformed. Money came to her through unexpected channels. Her relationships healed in ways she could never have planned, and her health restored itself naturally. This was not coincidence or luck. It was the perfect working of law. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, my circumstances are different. You don't understand my particular situation? I tell you, circumstances do not matter. Your current situation, no matter how desperate or seemingly permanent, is nothing more than a shadow cast by your previous assumptions. Change the assumption, and the shadow must change. In 2025, you must learn to distinguish between what Blake called the reality and its shadow. Your true reality is not what your senses show you. It is what your imagination claims it to be. The world of Caesar, with all its limitations and problems, is merely a shadow. You are the light casting that shadow, and you can change it at will by changing your conception of self. Let me give you a specific technique for this transformation. I call it the art of assumption. When you wish to transform any aspect of your life, you must first ask yourself, how would I feel if I were already the person I wish to be? Then, in that quiet moment before sleep, you must generate that feeling with all the intensity you can muster. Do not worry about the how. The how is not your concern. Your only task is to remain faithful to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. The infinite intelligence within you, call it God, call it your subconscious mind, call it what you will, knows exactly how to bring about the conditions necessary for the fulfillment of your desire. Remember, in 2025, you are not trying to make things happen. You are allowing them to happen by assuming the right state of consciousness. This is why I tell you to disappear from your present state. As long as you remain mentally tied to your current circumstances, trying to improve them or fight against them, you perpetuate them. Consider the story of the prodigal son. This parable is not about a wayward youth who physically returned home. It is about consciousness returning to its rightful state. The far country where he wasted his substance is the state of consciousness where you currently find yourself if you are not experiencing your desires. The Father's house where there is abundance and joy is the state of consciousness you wish to occupy. The journey home is not a physical journey, but a psychological one. It is the journey of disappearing from one state of consciousness and appearing in another. And just as the father in the parable did not ask where the son had been or what he had done, your own wonderful human imagination does not care about your past or your present circumstances. It only responds to what you are conscious of being now. In 2025, you must learn to be ruthless with yourself in this regard. When you catch yourself thinking from your old state of consciousness, thinking thoughts of limitation or lack, you must immediately disappear from that state. Do not fight these thoughts. Fighting them gives them power. Simply withdraw your attention from them and place it fully on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is what the scripture means when it says, leave the dead to bury their dead. Your old states of consciousness, your old problems and limitations are the dead. Let them bury themselves. Your task is to occupy the new state, to live from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. Now let me share with you another vital aspect of this transformation. Your outer world is nothing more than your inner conversations objectified. What are you saying to yourself throughout the day? What mental conversations do you carry on with others? These conversations, these inner debates and discussions are creating your future experiences. In 2025, you must become aware of these inner conversations and deliberately change them to align with your desires. If you wish to be wealthy, what kinds of conversations would you have if you were already wealthy? If you seek perfect health, what would your inner dialogue be if you were already in perfect health? Begin now to have these conversations internally. This is not pretense or self-deception. This is the actual creative process by which your world is formed. Your inner conversations are the breeding ground of your future experiences. Change the conversation and you change the experience. This is law. Remember, the Bible tells us, in the beginning was the Word. This is not referring to spoken words, but to your inner speech, your self-talk, your mental conversations. These are the words that create your world. In 2025, become conscious of these conversations and deliberately choose ones that imply the fulfillment of your desires. Let me tell you of a gentleman who came to me seeking to transform his career. He was stuck in a position he hated, feeling trapped and unable to advance. I told him to change his inner conversations about his work. Instead of mentally complaining about his current position, he began to have inner conversations implying he was already in his desired position. He would mentally hear congratulations from colleagues, discuss his new responsibilities with imaginary co-workers, feel the satisfaction of doing work he loved. Within weeks, an opportunity appeared that perfectly matched his desires. This was not coincidence, it was the law in operation. Now, some of you might be wondering about timing. You might be thinking, how long will this take? When will I see results? I tell you, time is purely psychological. What seems to take months or years in Caesar's world can happen in an instant when you succeed in reaching the right state of consciousness. In 2025, you must learn to live in the end. The end is the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you truly capture this feeling and maintain it, time dissolves. The events and circumstances necessary for the manifestation of your desire will unfold naturally and effortlessly. This is why I tell you to disappear from your present state. As long as you are conscious of time, as long as you are waiting for something to happen, you are not living in the end. You are still caught in the consciousness of absence, of wanting, of seeking. This consciousness can only create more wanting, more seeking. Instead, assume the consciousness of already being what you wish to be. Feel it so intensely that it crowds out all other thoughts and feelings. This is what it means to pray without ceasing, to maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled regardless of appearances. Remember the words of Scripture before they call, I will answer. This means that the fulfillment of your desire already exists. It is not something to be created. It is something to be claimed through your assumption of the right state of consciousness. In 2025, you must learn to trust this process completely. Do not be like doubting Thomas, needing to see before you believe. Be like the Master who said, blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed. Your imagination, fed by your assumption and sustained by your inner conversations, is creating your future now. Let me give you another technique for this transformation. I call it revision. Each night before you sleep, review the events of your day. But do not review them as they occurred. Revise them to match your desired state of being. See them happening in a way that implies the fulfillment of your desires. This is not merely positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is actively engaging your creative power to reshape your world. When you revise an event, you are actually changing the seed from which future events will grow. This is why the Scripture says the former things shall not be remembered or come into mind. In 2025, make revision a daily practice. If you had an unpleasant encounter, revise it to be harmonious. If you faced a financial setback, revise it to show abundance. If you experienced any lack or limitation, revise it to demonstrate fulfillment and expansion. Do this faithfully, and you will be amazed at how your world begins to transform. Remember, you are not trying to change things, you are changing yourself. When you change your concept of self, when you succeed in occupying a new state of consciousness, the outer world must change to reflect this inner transformation. This is law. Let me tell you of another success story. A woman came to me in deep depression. She had lost her job, her savings were depleted, and she felt completely worthless. I taught her this principle of revision. Each night she would revise her day to show herself as successful, prosperous, and deeply fulfilled. At first it seemed mechanical, even foolish to her, but she persisted. Within weeks, her entire world began to shift. Opportunities appeared that she could never have planned. People from her past contacted her with profitable ventures. Her bank account began to grow. Most importantly, her feeling of worthlessness disappeared completely. This transformation didn't happen because she changed things in the outer world. It happened because she successfully disappeared from her old state of consciousness and occupied a new one. The outer changes were simply the shadow adjusting to match the new light. In 2025, you must become aware of another crucial principle. Everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. Every person you encounter is simply playing the part that your consciousness has assigned them. Change your consciousness, and they must change their behavior toward you. This is why it's futile to try to change others or to blame them for your circumstances. They are simply reflecting back to you your own state of consciousness. When you successfully disappear from a state of consciousness that attracts negative experiences, the people in your world must either change their behavior or disappear from your life. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, people, circumstances, events, are simply shadows cast by your consciousness. Change the consciousness and the shadows must change. This is not theory, this is law. Let me share with you one final technique for your transformation in 2025. I call it the congratulatory scene. Select a scene that would imply the fulfillment of your desire. Make it a scene where someone is congratulating you on having achieved your goal. Feel the handshake, hear the words of congratulation, experience the joy of achievement. Make this scene so vivid, so real, that when you open your eyes, you will feel as though it actually happened. Do this night after night until the feeling of achievement becomes your dominant feeling. This is not visualization or positive thinking. This is entering into a state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. When you succeed in making this state feel natural to you, when you can live and move and have your being in it, your outer world must reshape itself to match this inner conviction. In 2025, you must learn to trust this process completely. Do not be concerned with the how. Do not try to make things happen. Simply occupy the right state of consciousness and let the infinite intelligence within you bring about the manifestation in its own perfect way. Remember, the outside world is dead, subsisting only on the life you give it through your attention and belief. Withdraw your attention from unwanted conditions. Give your full attention and allegiance to your desired state. Live from that state, think from that state, speak from that state. Your transformation in 2025 is not something that will happen to you. It is something that must happen within you. When you successfully disappear from your current state of consciousness and fully occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, the outer world has no choice but to transform itself accordingly. This is the law, and the law does not fail. It operates with mathematical precision. Your task is simply to apply it faithfully, persistently, until your desired state becomes your natural state. Then you will understand the truth of the statement, all things are possible to him who believes. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, remember this, you are all imagination. The world you experience is simply your imagination pushed out. In 2025, claim your rightful place as the operant power in your universe. Disappear completely from states of lack and limitation. Occupy fully the state of your wish fulfilled. Do this faithfully, persist in it. And I promise you, your world must transform to match your new conception of self. This is not magic, not positive thinking, not wishful dreaming. This is the law of consciousness in operation, and it never fails. Let this be your practice in 2025. Die daily to your old self, to your old concepts and limitations. Be born anew each day in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Live from that consciousness. Think from it. Speak from it. Do this, and you will experience the truth of the statement, all things work together for good to them that love God. And remember, God is your own wonderful human imagination. The transformation you seek is already complete in the imagination of God, your imagination. Your task is simply to enter into that completion, to occupy it fully, to live from it faithfully. Do this, and watch your world transform in ways you could never have planned or anticipated. For in 2025, you are not seeking to add something new to your life. You are claiming what is already yours by divine.